Right now, in this very moment, before another breath leaves your body, before another thought crosses your mind, before you scroll past this or close this window and return to the noise of the world, stop. Just stop. Because what is happening right now is not an accident. You did not stumble upon this message by chance. There is no such thing as coincidence when it comes to divine timing. And the fact that you are here, reading these words, hearing this voice, means that something far greater than anything this world can explain has been working quietly, carefully, and lovingly behind the scenes of your life to bring you to this exact moment. God has commanded you to stop. Not tomorrow. Not when it's more convenient. Not after the laundry is done, or the emails are answered, or the kids are in bed. Right now, this moment. Because there is something He needs you to hear, something the angels have been whispering over you for longer than you realize, and the time for whispers is over. This is the moment of the open door, the lifted veil, the divine interruption that changes everything. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. You may have felt lately like you are invisible, like you are carrying weights that no one else can see, like you have been praying and believing and hoping, and yet the silence has been so loud it almost broke you. You may have cried in the dark when no one was watching. You may have smiled in front of others, while something deep inside you was quietly falling apart. You may have asked God, with every ounce of sincerity in your soul, "Are you still there? Do you still see me? Does any of this matter?" And you waited, and the answer seemed like it wasn't coming. But beloved, here is what the angels need you to know right now. And please let this land in the deepest part of your heart. God heard every single one of those prayers. Every tear you cried in the silence He collected. Every night you felt alone, He was there, sitting with you, closer than the air you breathe. Every moment you doubted whether you mattered, heaven was watching over you with a love so fierce and so complete that if you could see even a fraction of it right now, you would never doubt again. Not for a single second. This message is not for everyone. It is for you. It has been prepared specifically, intentionally, and lovingly for the person whose eyes are on these words right now. And I want you to take a breath, a real, deep, slow breath, and let yourself feel something you may have forgotten how to feel. Let yourself feel chosen. Let yourself feel seen. Let yourself feel, maybe for the first time in a long time, that there is a plan unfolding around you that is bigger and more beautiful than anything your mind has been able to imagine. The angels have been assigned to your life. This is not a poetic metaphor. This is not a spiritual comfort phrase designed to make you feel better. This is a truth as real as the ground beneath your feet and as ancient as the stars above your head. You have been guarded, guided, and watched over by beings of light whose sole mission has been to walk alongside you through every valley, every storm, every loss, every heartbreak, every moment of confusion and pain and wandering. And today, they are speaking through this message with one clear, burning, urgent purpose: to wake something up inside of you that has been sleeping because something has been sleeping in you. Something that was placed inside you before you were born, something that was woven into the very fabric of who you are by the hands of the Creator Himself. A purpose, a calling, a light that this world desperately needs. And somewhere along the way, through the disappointments, through the seasons of struggle, through the voices that told you that you weren't enough, or that your dreams were too big, or that maybe you had misread the signs, that light got dimmed, not extinguished, never extinguished, but dimmed, and heaven is not okay with that. And that is why you are here right now. Let me tell you about something that happens in the spiritual realm that most people never think about. When a soul reaches a critical point in their journey, when they are standing at the edge of something they don't yet have words for, when they are right on the threshold of a breakthrough they can't yet see, heaven mobilizes. There is a kind of divine urgency that moves through the angelic realm, and messengers are sent, doors are opened, moments are orchestrated, and words are placed in front of that soul at precisely the right time. And what you are experiencing right now is exactly that. You are at a threshold, and God wants to make sure you don't walk away from it without knowing what's on the other side. There is something on the other side of this moment that you cannot fully see yet. There is healing waiting for you that goes deeper than anything you've experienced. There is a version of your life that is more aligned, more joyful, more purposeful, and more full of peace than you have allowed yourself to believe is actually possible for you. Not for other people, for you, specifically for you. And the only thing standing between where you are right now and all of that is a single decision, the decision to stay open, to remain receptive, to let what heaven is about to pour into you actually land. So I want you to make that decision right now, not at the end of this message. Right now, choose to open your heart. Choose to believe, even if just for the next few minutes, that you are not alone, that you are loved beyond measure, and that something transformative and real is about to happen in your spirit. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to have your life perfectly ordered or your faith perfectly strong. You just have to be willing. And if you are willing, that is enough. That has always been enough. Now, I want to talk to you about something that the angels have been watching in your life with great tenderness and great concern. They have seen you fighting battles that no one else knows about. And I'm not talking about the visible battles, the ones people can see from the outside, the ones you can explain when someone asks how you're doing. I'm talking about the invisible battles, the ones that happen inside the walls of your own mind, the ones that flare up at 3 in the morning when you can't sleep and you start to wonder if your life is going in the right direction. The ones that whisper terrible things about your worth and your future and your past. The ones that replay old wounds, like a movie you never wanted to watch but can't seem to turn off. Those battles are real. The angels know they are real. And God sees them with perfect clarity. But here is what the spiritual realm wants you to understand right now. Those battles are not proof that you are weak. They are proof that something powerful and important is being protected inside of you. The enemy of your soul does not wage war against things that don't matter. He does not pour resources into attacking lives that have no significance. The intensity of the battle you have been facing is, in a very real and profound way, a testament to the significance of what you carry. And what you carry is immense. You carry a gift that this world needs. You carry a story that will one day set someone else free. You carry a capacity for love that is rare and beautiful. You carry a calling that, when fully walked out, will create ripples that extend far beyond anything you can trace or measure in this lifetime. And heaven knows this. The angels assigned to your life know this. And they are fighting for you in ways you cannot see, pushing back darkness, clearing paths, opening doors, arranging encounters, whispering truth into your spirit in those quiet moments when you are still enough to hear it. Think back over the last few months of your life. Think about the moments where something shifted unexpectedly. Think about the conversation that came out of nowhere and said exactly what you needed to hear. Think about the night you were at your lowest and something inside you just wouldn't let you give up. Think about the small sign that appeared at the precise moment you needed it. A song on the radio, a word in a book that jumped off the page, a stranger's smile that felt inexplicably warm, a sudden and unearned sense of peace that washed over you in the middle of the storm. None of those moments were random. Every single one of them was an act of divine love. Every single one of them was a message from heaven saying, I see you, I'm here, keep going. And now this message on this day, at this moment, this is another one of those divine appointments. And the angels are asking you to receive it fully. Not with skepticism, not with the guarded part of your heart that has been hurt before and is afraid to hope again, but with the wide open, trusting, childlike part of your spirit that knows, deep down, that love is real and that God is faithful and that this universe is not indifferent to your life. I want to speak now to the grief that some of you are carrying, because there are those of you watching this who have lost something or someone so precious that some days, even breathing feels like an act of courage. There are those of you who are grieving a relationship that ended in a way that still doesn't make sense. There are those of you mourning a version of your life you thought you would have by now. The marriage, the child, the career, the dream that you held on to for so long before the season came and it fell apart. There are those of you carrying the weight of a loss so heavy it has reshaped everything about how you see the world. To you, the angels speak with the greatest tenderness. They gather close to you right now, and they bring with them a presence that is warm and gentle and beyond description. And they say to you, your grief is not invisible. It is not meaningless. It is not something to rush through or get over. The God who created the stars also created tears, and He honors every single one that has fallen from your eyes. He has not turned away from your pain. He has not grown impatient with your process. He is not standing somewhere distant and untouched, waiting for you to pull yourself together. He is right here, in the middle of your grief, sitting with you in it, and He is doing something in the deepest places of your heart that you will one day look back on and call sacred. The healing that is coming for you is not the kind that erases what happened. It is the kind that transforms it. It is the kind that takes the very thing that broke you and works it into the foundation of something stronger, something more beautiful, something that could only have been built through exactly what you walked through. There is a resurrection waiting on the other side of this grief, and the angels are asking you to hold on, not because the pain isn't real, but because what is coming is more real still. Now let me speak to something else. Let me speak to the women among you who have spent years, maybe decades, putting everyone else first. The ones who have given and given and given until they are running on empty, and then found a way to give a little more. The mothers who have poured themselves into their children and forgotten who they were before motherhood. The daughters who have become the emotional caretakers of entire families. The friends who are always the strong one, the steady one, the one everyone calls when things fall apart. The women who show up fully for everyone around them and then collapse quietly in private because there is no one showing up for them. The angels have a message specifically for you, and it is this. It is your turn. It is your turn to be filled. It is your turn to be held. It is your turn to receive instead of only give. It is your turn to let the river of heaven's love pour over you rather than through you and into everyone around you while you stand there empty and forgotten. You are not a vessel to be emptied. You are a beloved child of the Most High God, and you were made to be loved and cherished and restored just as much as anyone you have ever served. The angels are weeping over some of you right now because they see how long you have gone without being truly cared for. They see the exhaustion that goes so much deeper than physical tiredness. They see the loneliness that lives even inside relationships and families and busy, full lives. So they see the hunger in your heart for something genuine, something safe, something that asks nothing of you and simply says, you are enough, you are loved, you can rest here. And they are bringing that to you right now, not as a distant promise, but as a present reality. In this moment, as you hear these words, heaven is pouring rest into your spirit. Receive it. Don't deflect it. Don't say, but I still have so much to do. Just receive it. There is a concept in the spiritual realm that is difficult to put into human language, but I'm going to try because it is essential to what the angels want you to understand about your life right now. There is a divine timing that governs all things, and it operates by principles that are entirely different from the timelines and deadlines of the world we live in. Human time moves in a straight line, past, present, future, always marching forward at a relentless pace, always measuring, always counting, always reminding us of what we haven't yet accomplished, and how long it's been, and how much further there still is to go. But divine time is different. Divine time moves in cycles and seasons. It moves in patterns that the human eye often can't detect. It moves with purpose and wisdom, and a kind of perfect patience that has never once been in a hurry, and has never once been late. And this matters for you right now, because some of you have been measuring your life against human time and finding yourself lacking. You have been looking at where you thought you would be at this age, at this stage, at this point in your journey, and seeing a gap between that vision and your reality, and interpreting that gap as failure or punishment or evidence that something is deeply wrong with you or your faith or your path. And the angels want to say to you clearly and firmly and with love, stop measuring, stop comparing, stop using the world's ruler to measure a divine blueprint. What God is building in your life does not operate on the timeline you planned. It operates on the timeline that is perfect, and perfect timelines often look late until the moment they arrive, and then they are clearly, undeniably, breathtakingly right on time. Think about the stories throughout all of human spiritual history of the moments where divine timing showed up in ways no one expected. Think about the people who waited years, decades, for a promise to be fulfilled, and then, when it came in a way so beyond what they had imagined that all the waiting was instantly reframed. The waiting wasn't delay, it was preparation, it was growth. It was the deep, invisible, underground work that had to happen before the surface could bear the weight of what was coming. And that is what has been happening in your life, in the waiting seasons, in the silent seasons, in the seasons where it seemed like nothing was moving. Everything was moving, just underground, just in the invisible places where heaven does its deepest and most important work. Your story is not behind schedule. Your life is not a mistake. Your path is not a detour. Everything that has happened to you, every unexpected turn, every door that closed, every season that didn't look like what you prayed for, has been working together with divine precision to bring you to this exact moment, this exact threshold, this exact place of readiness that you couldn't have reached any other way. And the angels want you to feel in this moment the profound rightness of where you are. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are exactly where you need to be for what comes next. And what comes next, oh, beloved, what comes next is worth everything you have walked through to get here. There is an awakening beginning in your spirit right now. You may feel it as a warmth in your chest, a tingling in your hands, a sudden rush of emotion that you can't quite explain. You may feel tears coming and not know exactly why. That is the Holy Spirit moving in you. That is the presence of God touching the places in your heart that have been closed off and tender and waiting for permission to open. Let it happen. Don't hold it back. These are not just emotional responses. They are spiritual ones. They are the signs that something real is taking place in the unseen realm of your life. And the physical feelings are simply the echo of that divine activity reaching the surface. The angels are surrounding you right now. Not figuratively, actually surrounding you. In the spiritual realm, which is more real than anything your eyes can see, beings of light who were created to serve and guard and guide the children of God are present with you in this moment. They have messages, they have assignments. They have been waiting for this moment, the moment when you stopped long enough to listen, long enough to be still, long enough to let heaven's voice be louder than the world's noise. And the first message they bring is this: you are not who your past says you are. Whatever has been spoken over you, whether by others or by that harsh internal voice that knows exactly where to aim, whatever label has been placed on you by seasons of failure or seasons of shame, whatever identity you have picked up along the way that is smaller than who you really are, the angels are here to strip it away. It does not belong on you. It was never yours to carry. The one who made you calls you by a name that means beloved, chosen, set apart, worthy, and whole. And that is the name that is true. That is the name written in heaven over your life. And nothing, not your history, not your mistakes, not your struggles, not the opinions of people who didn't know how to love you correctly, nothing can change what is written in heaven. You are beloved. Say it. Even if it feels strange, even if something in you resists it, just let it land for a moment. You are beloved. Not because of what you have done or haven't done, not because of how strong your faith is, or how often you pray, or how well you have your life together. You are beloved because you were made by a God who is love itself, and love itself cannot create something it does not love. You were loved into existence. You are loved in this moment. You will be loved into your future. And that love is not something you can earn or lose. It simply is. It is the ground you stand on. It is the air you breathe. It is the force that has been moving through your life quietly and relentlessly in every single season, including the ones where you felt most alone. The second message the angels bring is this: the season of lack is ending. For some of you, this will be received in the material realm. Financial pressure that has been a source of tremendous anxiety is beginning to shift. Doors that seemed permanently closed are beginning to open. Provision that you didn't see coming is on its way. But beyond the material, the angels are speaking about a deeper lack. The lack of peace, the lack of clarity, the lack of a sense that your life has meaning and direction and a destination worth walking toward. That inner poverty, that spiritual emptiness, that quiet desperation, it is ending. Because heaven has heard your cry, and the season is turning, and what is coming is abundance in every dimension that matters. Hold on to that. Don't let the circumstances of this week or this month talk you out of what heaven is declaring over your life. Circumstances are temporary. They are not the final word. They are not the truest thing about your situation. The truest thing is what God is speaking, and God is speaking abundance, restoration, new beginnings, and an outpouring of blessing that is going to surprise you. Not because you deserve it more than others, but because you are positioned for it in this season. because the work that has been done in the hidden places of your life has prepared you to receive and steward and celebrate what is coming. Let me tell you about a woman, not her real name, but her real story, a story that mirrors what so many of you have lived. Her name, for this telling, is Grace. And Grace spent 15 years believing that the best things in life were for other people. She watched blessings happen around her friends, her sisters, the women she sat next to in church, the faces she followed online. And she smiled genuinely for them, while something small and cold lived in her heart that whispered, "But not for you. You don't get that." She had walked through enough loss to believe she was somehow marked for struggle. She had tried and failed enough times to stop trying quite as hard. She had hoped and been disappointed enough times to keep hope at arm's length, treating it like a thing that could hurt you if you let it get too close. And then one day, on an ordinary Tuesday, in the middle of nothing remarkable, something broke open. Not in the world around her, inside of her. A moment of absolute, undeniable clarity descended on her like light, and for one piercing instant she saw herself the way heaven sees her. Not the woman who had failed, not the woman who had been left, not the woman who had accumulated so many reasons to stay small and stay safe. She saw a woman who was deeply and extravagantly loved. She saw a woman whose story was not over, but was, in fact, barely begun. She saw a woman who had been prepared through everything she had endured for something extraordinary. And in that moment, she made a decision that changed everything. She decided to believe it. She didn't wait until the circumstances confirmed it. She didn't wait until the feelings followed. She didn't wait until she had all the answers, or until the path was clear, or until someone else told her it was okay to hope. She simply decided. She said, "I believe this, I choose this, I receive this." And from that day forward, everything began to shift. Not all at once, not in a single dramatic moment, but steadily, quietly, with the beautiful inexorability of a season changing, things began to move. Relationships healed, opportunities arrived. Peace settled in places where anxiety had lived for years. And Grace looked back later and said, "The only thing that changed on that Tuesday was my willingness to receive what had always been available to me." That is the message for you right now. What you are waiting for has been available. What you have been praying for has been heard. What you have been hoping for, even while trying not to hope too hard, is not out of reach. It is being moved toward you. The only question is whether you are going to be open to receive it. Whether you are going to let this be your Tuesday. Whether you are going to let this moment, this exact moment, right now, be the moment where something permanent shifts inside of you, and you decide, once and for all, that you are going to stop living as though heaven's abundance is for everyone except you, because it is for you. It has always been for you. The angels are asking you to make a declaration, not out loud if you're not comfortable with that, but in your spirit, in the place where only you and God can hear. They are asking you to say, from the deepest place in your heart, "I am open, I am willing. I receive the love of heaven right now. I receive the healing that is being offered. I receive the clarity and the direction and the peace and the abundance and the restoration that God has prepared for this season of my life. I let go of the story that says I am not enough. I let go of the lie that says I am too late. I let go of the wounds that have defined my limits. And I choose right now to believe that what God says about me is true." If you just said that, even silently, even with tears in your eyes, even with a voice shaking with the vulnerability of opening your heart again after it's been hurt, something just happened in the spiritual realm. A door opened. A chain broke. A light was turned on in a room that has been dark for a long time. And the angels who are with you right now are rejoicing over that choice with a joy that fills the heavens. This is only the beginning of what heaven wants to say to you today. There is more. There is so much more about your specific calling, about the spiritual warfare that has been waged against your destiny, about the relationships that are coming into your life and the ones that are being pruned away for your protection, about the signs and the seasons and the specific direction heaven is speaking over your next chapter. There is a depth to this message that goes all the way to the core of who you are and who you are being called to become. Stay with this. Don't walk away from this moment. You came here for a reason. The same love that set all of this in motion is still moving, still speaking, still pouring out over your life with a generosity that will leave you breathless. And there is more that you need to hear. You stayed. And I want you to know that the act of staying, the simple, beautiful, courageous act of remaining here and continuing to listen, is itself a spiritual statement. It is your spirit saying yes to heaven. It is your heart saying, I am ready. And when you say yes to heaven, heaven moves mountains on your behalf, not someday. Now, so let's go deeper. Because there is something that needs to be said that goes beyond encouragement, beyond comfort, beyond the warmth of knowing you are loved. Though all of that is true, and all of that is real, and you should carry it with you every single day. But there is a specific word, a specific revelation, that the angels have been waiting for this moment to release into your spirit. And it is this: you have been living smaller than you were designed to live. Not because you are weak, not because you are faithless, not because you don't deserve more, but because somewhere along the journey, you accepted a ceiling. You accepted a limit on what was possible for your life, and you stopped pushing against it, and eventually you stopped even seeing it. It became invisible, a boundary so familiar that it felt like the edge of the world rather than the edge of a belief system that can be changed. And the angels are here today to tear that ceiling down. Let me explain what I mean by a ceiling, because this is important. A ceiling is not always something someone put over you intentionally, though sometimes it is. Sometimes another person's words, a parent, a teacher, a former partner, a critical voice from your past planted a seed of limitation in your spirit. Something like, you're not smart enough for that, or women like us don't get things like that. Or stop dreaming so big, you're only setting yourself up for disappointment. And that seed grew in the dark, fed by enough difficult experiences to make it seem true, until it became a belief. And beliefs, once embedded, become invisible architecture. You live inside them without even knowing they're there. You make decisions based on them. You filter your possibilities through them. You become, in a very real sense, the size of what you believe. Which means that if your beliefs are small, your life becomes small. Not because your destiny is small, but because you can only receive what you believe you can receive. The angels are asking you right now to examine the beliefs you carry about what is possible for your life. Not to judge yourself for having limited ones. We all do, and every single one of them came from somewhere painful, and there is no shame in that. But to see them for what they are, not truths, not facts, not the final word. They are old stories. They are outdated maps. They were written in seasons of pain by a version of you that was doing the best they could with what they had. But that version of you did not have access to the full picture. That version of you had not yet walked through everything you have walked through, had not yet met the resilience inside you that shows up every time something tries to take you down, had not yet stood on the other side of the hard things and discovered that you not only survived them, but were shaped by them into something stronger and deeper and more beautiful than before. You are not who you were in the seasons that shaped those limiting beliefs. You have grown. You have been refined. You have been worked on by the hands of God in ways that are more profound than you have given yourself credit for. And the woman you are today, the woman who is here in this moment, open and listening and willing, she is ready for the ceiling to come off. She is ready for the expanded vision. She is ready to begin living in the fullness of what was always intended for her, not in the cramped and airless space of what she settled for, because she didn't believe she deserved more. This is the moment. Right now. Ask God to show you where your ceilings are. Ask the Holy Spirit to illuminate the beliefs that have been keeping you smaller than your calling. And as He reveals them, choose one by one to release them. You don't have to white-knuckle your way through this. You don't have to perform some kind of emotional surgery on yourself. You simply have to be willing to say, that belief is not from you, God. It is not who you say I am. And I choose to release it and receive what you say instead. That's it. That's the whole thing. Willingness is the key that unlocks every door in the spiritual realm, and you have already demonstrated that you have it. Now, I want to speak to something else, something that for some of you will be the most significant thing you hear today. I want to talk about purpose, about calling, about the reason you are alive on this earth at this moment in history, in this particular body, with this particular set of gifts and wounds and experiences and longings. Because purpose is not a luxury reserved for extraordinary people. Purpose is not something you earn by having everything figured out. Purpose is not waiting for you on the other side of getting your life perfectly together. Purpose is right here, inside you, already present, already alive. And the most urgent thing the angels want to communicate to you today is that the world cannot afford for you to keep it waiting. Yes, you. The world cannot afford for you to keep your purpose waiting. I know that might feel dramatic. I know there might be a part of you that says, but I'm just one person. I'm not famous. I'm not powerful. I'm not special in the way the world recognizes as special. And to that part of you, the angels say with the gentlest and most fierce love imaginable, you have profoundly misunderstood what it means to matter. You have accepted a definition of significance that was handed to you by a culture obsessed with visibility and numbers and platforms and influence measured in followers. And that definition is a lie. It is a deeply impoverished vision of what it means for a human life to matter. The woman who changes the world is not always the one on the stage. Sometimes she is the one who raised the child who stood on the stage. Sometimes she is the teacher who believed in the student who became the leader. Sometimes she is the quiet friend who said the right thing at the right moment and stopped someone from giving up. Sometimes she is the woman on her knees in the dark, praying for a community that will never know her name, and yet the prayers she prays shift the atmosphere over entire regions. Sometimes she is you, exactly as you are, doing exactly what is in front of you, with the love and the intention and the God-given grace that only you can bring to it. Purpose is not always grand, but it is always powerful, and the ripples of a life fully and faithfully lived extend further than any human eye can trace. You will not see in this lifetime the full reach of what your life, your specific, ordinary, extraordinary life, sets in motion. But heaven sees it, and heaven is saying, it matters. You matter. Don't reduce yourself to what is visible and measurable and immediately verifiable. Expand into what is true. For some of you, there has been a specific calling on your heart for a long time, a dream that you carry quietly, a vision that lights something up inside you every time you let yourself think about it, but that you have repeatedly pushed back down because it seemed too big or too impossible or too vulnerable to speak out loud. Maybe it's a ministry you feel called to. Maybe it's a creative gift that you've been told isn't practical. Maybe it's a healing art that you were drawn to before the world told you to be realistic. Maybe it's a message you've been aching to share, a story you've been longing to tell, a community you've been dreaming of building, something that, when you imagine it fully realized, fills you with a joy so deep it almost feels like grief because you want it so much and you're so afraid you'll never actually have it. The angels want you to hear this. That longing is not accidental. That dream is not wishful thinking. It is a divine seed. It was placed inside of you on purpose by the same Creator who knows the end from the beginning, and it has been waiting, patient and alive and refusing to die no matter how many times you tried to be sensible and let it go, because it is woven into the very fabric of your assignment on this earth. You were not given that dream to be tormented by it. You were given it to live it. And the fear you feel around it is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you are standing at the edge of something real, something that will cost you something that will require you to grow in ways that are uncomfortable, but something that on the other side is everything you have ever prayed for. The angels are saying, take one step, just one, not the whole staircase, not the entire plan, not the finished, polished, fully formed version that you imagine must exist before you can begin. Just one step. What is the one thing you can do this week that moves you, however incrementally, in the direction of that dream? Write it down. Speak it out. Begin. Because heaven rushes to meet the person who takes a step in faith, and you will be astonished at what opens up when you just begin. Let me shift now to something that is equally important, and that is the matter of spiritual warfare. Because if you have been walking with any level of purpose and faith, you have encountered it. Maybe you didn't have language for it. Maybe you called it bad luck or depression or just the way your life seems to go. But there is an adversarial force at work in this world that is specifically interested in preventing people like you. People who carry light, people who are close to a breakthrough, people who are right on the edge of stepping into something significant from doing so. And it is crucial that you understand what it is, how it operates, and what power you carry against it. The enemy of your soul is not creative. He has been using the same playbook since the beginning of human spiritual history. He does not come at you with something new. He comes at you with the thing that has worked before. The old wound, the old doubt, the old shame, the old fear. He speaks in the voice of your worst memories. He wears the face of your deepest insecurity. He knows exactly which lies you are most likely to believe because he has watched you believe them before. And his greatest weapon against you is not external destruction. His greatest weapon is internal discouragement. If he can get you to look at your own life and feel hopeless about it, he doesn't need to do anything else. You will become your own obstacle. This is why the angels are so urgently pressing this message through right now. Because discouragement is a spiritual weapon, not just an emotion. When you feel suddenly and inexplicably hopeless about your future, when you are one moment full of faith and the next moment drowning in doubt, and you can't quite trace how you got there, you are likely experiencing a spiritual attack, not a personal failure, not evidence that your faith is insufficient. A targeted, deliberate attempt by a very real spiritual enemy to take you out before you step into what's next. And here's what you do with that. You recognize it. You name it. You look at it and you say, out loud if you can, I know what this is. This is not truth. This is not the voice of the one who made me. This is a lie from the pit, and it has no power over my life, my future, my calling, or my peace. And then you do the most powerful thing any human being can do in the face of spiritual warfare. You worship. You praise. You lift your voice or your hands or your heart in gratitude toward the God who is greater than everything that comes against you. And in that act of worship, the darkness scatters. Not because you are performing a ritual, but because worship is an alignment. When you worship, you align your spirit with the truth of who God is. And in the presence of that truth, lies cannot stand. You have more authority than you have been told. The power that raised the dead, that parted seas, that turned mourning into dancing and ashes into beauty, that power is available to you. Not someday, not in theory. Now, in your actual life, in the specific battles you are facing, in the rooms you walk into and the relationships you navigate, and the fears that try to ambush you in the dark. You are not a helpless bystander in your own story. You are someone who carries the Spirit of the living God, and that is the most powerful thing a person can carry. Now I want to speak to the loneliness, because it is real and it is widespread, and so many of the women receiving this message carry it in ways they rarely voice. There is a loneliness that comes from feeling like you are the only person who truly sees the world the way you do, the only one awake to the spiritual dimensions of life, the only one who feels things this deeply, the only one who is still holding on to faith in a world that is increasingly cynical about it. There is a loneliness that comes from being in rooms full of people and still feeling entirely unseen. There is a loneliness of having an inner life so rich and so vast that it cannot fully fit into the conversations available to you, and so you keep most of it to yourself, and a hunger grows quietly for a depth of connection that the surface level world doesn't seem to offer. The angels see this loneliness. They see it with a tenderness that would undo you if you could feel its full weight, and they are moving on your behalf. They are arranging encounters. They are drawing toward you the people whose spirits are tuned to the same frequency as yours, the ones who will recognize you when they see you, the ones who speak your language, the ones who will make you feel, for the first time, like you are not strange, but rather that you have simply been living in the wrong room. Those people are coming. Some of them are already at the edges of your life, and the distance between you is closing. Be open to them. They may not look exactly like what you imagined. They may come from unexpected directions. But when they arrive, you will know. There will be a recognition in your spirit, a sense of coming home. And you will know that heaven arranged that meeting. And in the meantime, in the tender, sometimes aching meantime, let me remind you that you are never actually alone. The angels who surround you are not distant beings observing your life from a safe and separate remove. They are with you, present, real. And there are moments, if you become still enough, if you quiet the noise long enough, when you can feel them. That warmth that seems to come from nowhere, that sudden sense of being held when nothing in your circumstances has changed. That inexplicable peace that passes understanding. Those are not random fluctuations in your nervous system. Those are the fingerprints of heaven on your daily life. Let yourself feel that right now. Just breathe. Breathe and feel the presence that is surrounding you in this moment. You are not alone in your home. You are not alone in your fear. You are not alone in your hoping. There is a great cloud of love around you that never sleeps, never tires, never leaves. And the God who commanded that love to surround you did so because he knows exactly how much you need it and exactly how much you deserve it. I want to talk now about the next chapter, because this message is not only about where you have been or what you have survived, it is about what is in front of you. And what is in front of you is significant. The angels are speaking about a season of acceleration, a season where things that have been developing slowly underground in the invisible places begin to surface and move quickly. A season where doors that had been stuck begin to swing open with an ease that will surprise you. A season where clarity begins to replace the fog that has made decision-making feel so difficult. A season where what you have been building in faith, even on the days when you couldn't see any evidence that it was working, begins to manifest in the visible world. This season requires something of you, and that something is courage, not the absence of fear. That is not what courage means, and anyone who tells you that it is has never truly had to be brave. Courage is feeling the fear and stepping forward anyway. Courage is saying yes to the thing that is calling your name, even though your legs are shaking. Courage is letting yourself be seen in the fullness of who you are, even knowing that not everyone will celebrate what they see. Courage is choosing to believe the word that God spoke over your life, even when everything around you seems to contradict it. Courage is getting up one more time, staying open one more day, trusting one more degree when trust has cost you before. The angels are investing courage into your spirit right now. They are strengthening the part of you that is ready to move, ready to step forward, ready to say yes. And they are asking you to receive that strengthening and to act on it. Not to wait until you feel completely ready, because the feeling of complete readiness rarely comes before the step. It usually comes after. The feeling follows the action. The confidence comes from taking the first terrifying step and discovering that the ground holds. Take the step. The ground will hold. There is a specific area of some of your lives where heaven is calling you to move in a direction you have been hesitating to move. You know what it is. Even now, as you read or hear these words, something in you is pointing to it. It is the thing you always circle back to in your thoughts and in your prayers, but haven't fully committed to. It might be a conversation that needs to happen. It might be a boundary that needs to be set, a loving but firm line that you have been afraid to draw, because you don't want to hurt someone or be seen as difficult or lose a relationship that, if you're honest, has not been healthy for you. It might be a chapter that needs to close so that a new one can open. It might be a yes that needs to be spoken where you have been saying not yet. It might be a no that needs to be spoken where you have been saying a little longer. Whatever it is, the angels are confirming it. The hesitation you feel is not wisdom telling you to stop. It is fear masquerading as wisdom, and you know the difference, even if you've been allowing the fear to have the louder voice. Real wisdom does not always feel comfortable, but it has a quality of alignment, a sense of peace underneath the discomfort, a quiet knowing that this is the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. Fear, on the other hand, is loud and urgent and tends to catastrophize, painting the worst possible picture of what happens if you move. Listen for the peace underneath. That is where heaven is speaking. I want to speak now about faith, not as a theological concept, but as a living, breathing, daily practice that the angels are asking you to recommit to in this season. Faith is not certainty. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is not a feeling of unshakable confidence that floats above the messy reality of human life. Faith is a choice. It is a decision made again and again, every single day, sometimes many times in a single day, to believe that God is who He says He is, that He will do what He says He will do, and that your life, with all its unfinished places and unresolved questions, is held in hands that are good and wise and completely capable of working all of it into something beautiful. You have had faith. You have exercised it in some of the most difficult circumstances imaginable. There are moments in your past, moments that you might not even recognize as acts of great faith, because they were just you, getting up, going forward, holding on, that the angels look back on with profound respect. Because choosing to keep going in the dark, choosing to keep trusting when you can't see the evidence, choosing to pray when prayer feels like sending letters to an empty sky, that is faith. And it is the most powerful force in the universe when it is genuine, and yours is genuine. The angels want to honor that. They want to stand before you in this moment and say, "We have watched you have faith when it cost you everything, and we want you to know that not 1 ounce of it was wasted. Every prayer was heard. Every act of trust was noted. Every step of faith you took in the dark was building something in the invisible realm that is about to break through into the visible. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was lost. Everything was used, and they are asking you to bring that same faith, that hardened, tested, refined in fire faith, into this next season. Not the easy faith of good times, the battle-tested faith that has been through the valley and come out the other side. Because the next season is going to require it. Not because the next season is going to be all struggle. It is not. The angels are not delivering a warning of more hardship. What they are saying is that the next season is going to be so full, so expansive, so beyond what you have known before, that it will require a faith big enough to hold the blessing. Some people are more prepared for the trial than the triumph. Some people, after years of learning to trust God in the hard things, have more trouble trusting Him in the abundance. Because abundance feels unfamiliar, almost dangerous, like something that can be taken away. The angels are asking you to practice the faith that receives without immediately bracing for loss. The faith that says, "This is for me. I am allowed to have this. I will receive this fully and without apology." That is a practice. Begin it now. Practice receiving love without deflecting it. Practice accepting kindness without immediately wondering what it will cost you. Practice sitting in moments of joy without scanning the horizon for what might come to end them. Practice being in the blessing rather than on the edge of it, waiting to be evicted. This is faith for the season ahead. As we move toward the closing of this message, I want to hold something out to you. Something that I want you to take with you when this message ends and you return to your life. Your beautiful, significant, divinely designed life. I want to give you an image. A picture that the angels want to leave in your heart as a reminder for the moments when the world gets loud again and the doubt creeps back in and you start to forget what you heard today. Imagine yourself standing in a field just before dawn. The sky is that deep, saturated blue that exists for only a few minutes. Not night anymore, but not yet day. Everything is still, the kind of still that feels alive rather than empty. And you are standing there, and the horizon before you is beginning to glow with the first promise of light. You cannot see the sun yet, but you can see its effect on everything around you. The edges of the clouds turning to gold, the outline of the world becoming visible again, the darkness retreating, not with a bang, but with a graceful, inevitable yielding to the light that is coming. You are that moment right now. You are standing in the last minutes of the dark before the dawn. The sun is rising over your life. You cannot see it fully yet, but you can feel its warmth beginning to reach you. You can see the light touching the edges of things. And the dawn is not delayed. The dawn is not in question. The dawn is coming with all the certainty of everything God has ever promised, everything He has ever set in motion, everything He has spoken over your life from before you were born. It is coming, and you, beloved, are standing on the right side of it. The angels want to leave you with something to carry. A set of truths to speak over yourself, not just once, but every day. In the morning when you first open your eyes, in the middle of the day when the noise of the world tries to drown out the voice of heaven, and at night when you lay down and the silence makes space for either fear or faith. These truths are not things to merely believe. They are things to declare. Because your words carry spiritual authority, and what you speak over your own life has weight in the spiritual realm, so speak this: I am loved beyond measure by a God who does not change and does not leave. I am not behind. I am not too late. I am exactly where I need to be for what is coming next. My past does not define me. My wounds do not limit me. My story is not over. In fact, the best chapters are still ahead. I carry a gift that the world needs, and I will not keep it hidden out of fear. I am surrounded by angelic protection, divine guidance, and a love that never fails. I receive healing in every dimension: physical, emotional, spiritual. I receive clarity for the decisions in front of me. I receive courage for the steps I have been hesitating to take. I receive the abundance that heaven is moving toward me, and I receive it without guilt and without fear. I am a beloved child of the Most High God, and that is the truest and most permanent thing about me. Say those words. Mean them. Say them until they feel true. Say them on the days when they feel like a lie. Say them until they become the architecture of your inner world, replacing the ceilings with open sky, replacing the lack with abundance, replacing the silence with the clear and constant voice of heaven, saying your name with tenderness and with joy. And now, as this message comes to its close, I want to say one final thing. One thing that is perhaps the most important thing of all, and that is this. You are not at the end of something. You are at the beginning. Everything that has brought you to this moment, every hard season, every broken thing, every prayer, every act of courage, every time you chose to get up and try again, all of it was building to this awakening, to this opening, to this moment when heaven drew close and said, now is the time. Now is when the shift happens. Now is when the story turns. This is your now. This is your turning. And the angels of light who have been assigned to your life, who have walked with you through every valley and watched over every sleeping night and rejoiced at every victory and wept at every wound. They are here, in this moment, gathered around you with a love that is beyond language, saying with one voice that echoes from the highest heavens all the way to the ground beneath your feet, you were made for this. You were made for more than you have known. You were made for a life of deep purpose and overflowing love and unshakable peace, and the kind of joy that doesn't depend on circumstances, because it is rooted in something deeper than circumstances can reach. God has commanded you to stop everything and listen, and you did. You listened. And in listening, you have received something that will change the trajectory of your life if you choose to carry it forward. Carry it. Walk back into your days differently than you walked into this moment. Walk back knowing that you are seen, that you are loved, that you are protected, that you are called, and that the best is not behind you. The best, oh beloved, the absolute best, is still ahead. The angels go with you. The light goes with you. Heaven is for you, and nothing, not your history, not your fears, not your doubts, not the voices that told you to stay small, not the circumstances that haven't yet shifted, not the waiting that has felt endless. Nothing can stop what God has set in motion in your life. Go forward. Go forward in faith. Go forward in love. Go forward knowing that you are not alone, that you have never been alone, and that the same God who spoke the universe into being speaks your name with tenderness and calls you right now into the fullness of everything you were created to be. This is not the end of the message. This is the beginning of the life the message was always pointing toward. You are beloved. You are chosen. You are free. And the dawn is here.